the best new Xbox Game Pass games to check out. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So the idea here is to showcase 6 unique and really awesome games for Xbox Game Pass that you can check out, download, and play. So the first we have is Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. So this is a throwback JRPG experience with the design of a modern aesthetic, kind of a little bit maybe to a degree like Octopath Traveler. You have these very distinct and unique characters in this world that aims to have a high sense of like quality and design to it, a little bit more of a realistic focus and kind of styling. And then you have these gorgeous pixel sprite characters that you control as part of your group. And it's got such a distinct look to it as you go and explore and complete challenges and battle your way through with distinct and at times fairly challenging turn-based combat where you have these large parties and are attempting to level up, improve, and be able to take on more challenges along the way. It's got a great sense of discovery, mystery, and in general scope to it, and you can spend quite a lot of time playing this game if you really get into it. It's just got like a really nice kind of vibe to it. The styling looks so cool. There's this overhead map, which is just really quite a treat to move through as you attempt to, I guess you would say, explore, battle weird creatures along the way to improve your skills, and just venture forth into all these unique places with a deep sense of mystery as you try to figure out what exactly happened to some lost secrets along the way. You'll get to meet a very colorful cast of characters with voice-acted segments. 100 heroes. They're not kidding. But yeah, you're supposed to gather your allies, assemble a 6-party team, based on the different characters you make, and enjoy this handcrafted 2.5D world that is brimming with war, intrigue, and magic. Very, very unique, vibrant characters, weird, silly, and delightful little mini-games, and an unforgettable narrative with boundless charm. You could choose to command your units during conflict or have auto battles as well in order to make things a little bit easier. You manage your team, your roster, and some of the skill sets that you have available to yourself in order to create the best possible unit in order to complete your particular narrative. It's definitely got a distinct styling to it, and one that I really quite love. It's really interesting how it's sort of this, flat design world, but yet there's these 3D elements to it that really give it a sense of depth and design that I think is just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Again, the 2.5D design here I think just works perfectly for this game. It's a lot of fun to play, it's got a neat sense of charm, and I really like what they put together for this one. I think it's a very, very cool game and one that you should definitely dive into and check out, as it certainly is one of the more unique games that you'll see in this offering for sure.
Smiling on you today, Lieutenant.
This is Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which is the second entry in this series of Star Wars games that follows a fairly charismatic individual that has given up on the Force until the Force finds him. So you are enjoying what is typically sort of referred to as Star Wars Souls. So a little bit Dark Souls infused with a bit of action style and flair to its combat as you make the lightsaber that kind of works for you, and you build up your abilities in order to tackle the Empire and any other threats that come your way. It's got romance, it's got action, it's got conflict. There's beautiful environments, there's interesting dynamics as you traverse an exciting and unique world for you to visit. You have unique abilities, you're able to use the Force, and yeah, it's pretty sweet, especially as you slice, dice, and destroy, well, your opponents and anyone that comes knocking. So this game does dive into the modern, I guess you would say, Star Wars lore to a degree, in terms of like new eras and whatnot. It directly continues the events from the first game, which is also available on the Game Pass if you want to give that one a whirl as well, as I do think that is most certainly worth your time, and you're probably going to get a little bit more of a rewarding experience if you do actually, you know, kind of dive into them one after another. But seriously, it's got a great cast of characters. It's a really fun, engaging story. The combat's really cool. It's visceral. You can feel the power of using, you know, a lightsaber, and it's pretty sweet. Like, the adventure's fun. There's good elements of, like, parkour. There's a decent challenge, but it's not too ridiculous. And yeah, it's just kind of a fun, engaging story with a great kind of character and supporting cast kind of anchoring it along the way. But you really do kind of feel a greater sense of becoming more powerful as you progress, gaining new skills, visiting some lost secrets from the, well, basically the world of Star Wars. And yeah, it's just kind of a pretty great game. I mean, if you've been holding out for this long for whatever reason, now is the best time to give it a whirl, as I'm sure you will not be disappointed as you unleash the full power of the Force in this new era where it's not really great to be a Jedi because everybody wants to kill you. Which is kind of funny, but yeah, it's just a really enjoyable experience. I had a lot of fun working through the story, enjoying the challenges, and I'm sure others will as well if they dive into this and enjoy the full power of unleashing the Force. And I mean, you get to do crazy customization for your lightsaber and stuff. It's really, really quite awesome. Really super cool. This is Fallout 4, which has just been given its recent current gen update, which is kind of awesome to have available. So this is a game where you really can kind of go out and have whatever sort of weird adventure you want, whether you're playing the game from a vanilla perspective or diving in and having some mods available. You're basically looking for your kid, but I mean, there's lots of other things you can do along the way. You're able to meet a really unique cast of characters as you explore this large, vast wasteland of forgotten places. The game has an incredible building system to it, as you're able to create basically little towns and whatnot along the way in order to kind of do contraptions, have trade going on, or have somebody constantly bother you about another settlement that needs your help. So Fallout 4 is a lot of fun. It's a great apocalyptic adventure within the Fallout universe. It's filled with surprises and tests and challenges and quirky scenarios and gorgeous environments. The game is a ton of fun to play. I love the unique style that the Fallout series provides. And Fallout 4, to me, is just a really great time. I genuinely absolutely love what this game has to offer. The sense of like mystery, the fact that like you're supposed to be looking for your kids, and that in itself was kind of a cool, fun side mystery. But it really kind of was thrown to the side as I went about exploring tons of forgotten, destroyed buildings, meeting unique characters in this twisted world, battling crazy things like ghouls or monsters, and personally spending way too much time gathering supplies so that I could build up my camp. I really like the building mechanics in this game. Yeah, the building mechanics are kind of my thing. It's just the settlement system is so cool. But you work through various factions, you try to survive against crazy creatures, you explore just the furthest reaches of this really cool detailed world that I think you can just have a lot of fun in and just find yourself completely lost within. Fallout 4 is a mighty experience and one that is truly unforgettable. I think you will definitely remember the adventures you have in this universe, the places you go and see, the things you go and do. yeah, it's kind of just a great game. And usually there's creatures to kill, but I'm guessing I kind of took them all out. But it's a huge wasteland that's waiting for you to explore it. It's vast, it's exciting. There's never not something crazy to do. There's always something new to see, and even years on, and countless hours on, I'm still going around and exploring and finding new things that I missed or new areas that I haven't visited. And yeah, it's just kind of a wondrous, great time in the wasteland. And there's never been a better time than now to dive in and rediscover Fallout 4 because it's just an incredible role playing game. This is another crab's treasure, which is basically like crab souls. So it's Dark Souls, but you're like this crab where the really hardcore economy has come in, you've not been paying your taxes, and they repossess your shell, and now you're going in on an adventure to try to get your home back. And you're collecting microplastics. It's kind of like the souls, like like in Dark Souls you collect souls and whatnot, and yeah. Anyways, it's like that, but in the form of like a crab game, where it's crab souls. So this one is a little hardcore, just so that you are aware. Like it is a Dark Souls game, so it is Souls-like, but under this like sort of cute visual style that is, you may think that it's cute, friendly, and cuddly, and a little quirky, but it's more than meets the eye. That's for sure. It's a little bit more hardcore than one might expect. That being said, there are some accessibility options that make it a little easier. I think there's one where you literally can give your crab like a gun. Like, yeah, if you really want to make it easy, you go to like settings and it's like give Krill a gun. Because if there's one thing this crab needs, it's a weapon that shoots bullets under the water. I'd love that in Dark Souls to just fight this big monster and just being like, you know what? I've had it with you. You just pull out a gun and go and Indiana Jones it. Oh, that would be pretty funny. Anyways, yeah, it's a quirky game of grabbing, armor and stuff like that and battling. And it's a Dark Souls game, true and true, with the bosses and the monsters and the challenges along the way. And
You think yourself above the law?
it's just a little ridiculous, but it's pretty entertaining and fun. I think this one is a pretty cool little time. I mean, I don't know how well I'll do in it because it's kind of hardcore, but the adventure and stuff is kind of fun, I suppose. Yeah, this is quite a challenge. This is Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the third and final entry in the Survivor trilogy, where you have Lara Croft facing off against some of her most dangerous threats yet, as this character continues to evolve and become a lot more powerful and confident in who she is and her abilities, while also still questioning what exactly she's doing and the crazy challenges that await her along the way in this really well-crafted, gorgeous, and stunning ending to her original origin story. And I can't wait to see where the next part of her journey will take her, because this adventure here was just an absolute blast. The grim sense of gameplay, combat, and unique challenges really do provide an exciting and varied adventure for you to have along the way. I think they absolutely delivered something that is large in scope, intimate to the character, and filled with so many challenges, whether you're doing challenge tombs, extra DLC mission tombs, or just attempting to really survive along the way. The game is filled with collectibles, extra side stories, interesting characters, a unique sense of grittier, more terrifying combat where Lara Croft can like hang up in like trees and jump down upon enemies, or like in the wall, and there's all these different traps, and the game really does offer a varied selection of challenges for this Tomb Raider. One that is a lot more lethal, a lot more confident. And it was interesting to see that dynamic change over the trilogy. And I do recommend that you play all 3 games in a row if you can from the optimal story perspective. But if you do decide just to dive into Shadow of the Tomb Raider, it does a good enough job of telling you the backstory of this character, giving you a little bit of context into who she is. And it's just a really fun, well-detailed adventure in the jungle. And I think they absolutely just nailed this experience. Like, it is so well crafted, so well put together. I love the challenge of it, the level of detail and fidelity. It's just really, really quite spectacular. And I think they really did put together something that is compelling to play, fun, a little bit challenging. It's got a nice sense of like mystery to the puzzles and the setup here as you literally just attempt to, well, survive, face off those challenges that you are working towards dealing with, but also having a fun sense of like, it's not just the people you're dealing with, there's animals, there's creatures. It's a dangerous jungle filled with mysteries and intrigue, and there's just a lot to see and a lot to enjoy in this one. I think you'll have an absolute blast playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider, just like I did, because it's a really, really great game, and I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. There's the right amount of challenge, the right amount of surprise, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider just delivers an excellent time, and I'm sure you won't be disappointed. This is Orcs Must Die 3. So this is the 3rd entry in the Orcs Must Die franchise. That's right, there's actually been a few of these games, and you know what? They're really great. So this is a tower defense series with an actual focus on, I guess you could say, narrative and then the progression of these characters across many years. It's very interesting. The character I'm playing as here, I've actually seen kind of age between the differing entries, and that in itself is kind of wild. But aside from the story, it's a great tower defense game where you are actively playing a role. You set up your traps will assist you, and you will attempt to mulch through hundreds of orcs. What's really cool about this particular entry too is the fact that they have these giant war battles where there is just an absolute ton of orcs for you to kill and slaughter, and then you have like these larger than ever traps in order to do them. The game is full of content, whether you're doing the main story or if you're going in and playing like the endless mode, or there's this thing called Scrabble, which is what we're doing, where it is literally a deeper level of challenge as you are scrambling to try to survive and take on all of the orcs that are coming along your path. It's really, really quite cool. You can play it alone, you can play it with another player cooperatively, and it's just like a neat sense of like trying to figure out the most optimal strategy to eliminate as many orcs as you can, because the challenge is always going crazier, and there are some really ridiculous levels in this one that will absolutely challenge your skills and ability to actually take on orc threats. And there's so many different types of creatures, there's so many different types of traps in this game. They really put together one compelling, expansive offering, and it's genuinely shocking, as a big fan of this series, to get such a complete Orcs Must Die setup. I absolutely love what they were able to accomplish with this one. It's a ton of fun, it's a great game, and it's probably one that I would imagine a lot of people have overlooked. And that's a bit of a shame, because it's really awesome. Especially if you're into the whole tower defense thing, like I kind of am, and then having one where it's like an active tower defense, like you are actively a big part of the situation, what you're doing and what you need to do in order to actually like get the job done. Make sure that none of the orcs kind of slip into your rift in order to destroy it, because that's what they want to do. And just come out on top with the best score you can. Different difficulties for more challenges. And yeah, Orcs Must Die 3 is pretty spectacular, just like I would say all of the games in this video selection. So hopefully you found this helpful. Liking the video is great, subscribing is great as well, and good luck out there, well, playing new games on Game Pass.